if everyone's in agreement, I'd like to call the meeting to order.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Clerk Bailey, if you could take roll call.
Okay. So, Supervisor Higgins-Beard.
Here.
Trustee Siemer not here. Trustee Pitts.
Here.
Trustee McGrath.
Here.
Okay. Trustee McGowen, not yet. And Clerk Bailey. Here.
Wonderful. Trustee Siemer sent his apologies. He is not feeling well, and his doctor said not to come get us sick. So, if we could introduce our guest who's doing our mission moment today.
So, I want to introduce Rajinder Singh Magal. He's going to give us an invocation. He's a Sikh Community Outreach Coordinator and member of the Illinois Sikh Community Center of Wheaton. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. The Sikh greeting, which is Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh, meaning all good people belong to God and all their successes are also because of His grace. In the spirit of love and compassion, let's pray. O Giver of life, the one of many names, open our hearts as we gather tonight as one people, as board members of Milton Township. Open the eyes of our heart so that we might see one another as brother and sister, and created by your divine love and mercy. Open the ears of our heart that we might listen to each other's stories and opinions. We come together as privileged people, given the opportunity to gather in peace as one family representing our community. Help us to be grateful for this blessing. Help us let our understanding of each other be deepened and be the seeds for a more hopeful future. We may come from many traditions, and in the spirit of unity, we acknowledge that we are part of an interconnected web of life. Let us acknowledge and embrace that oneness as part of your oneness, my Lord. You have created us all to have potential in each one of us to receive your love and grace. Guide us to work to be the change that we desire. Where we see differences, let us seek the common ground. Where we can work together for the common good for each other and our common home. Where we find hurt and sorrow, let us be moved by your divine mercy and compassion as we learn to love more and forgive more. Where we find justice, let us be moved by your unconditional love for all people. Give us moral strength to lead with courage, stand firm for what is right, and remain steadfast in service to others and to justice. Where we see goodness, let us rejoice in the blessings of your abundant goodness. O divine spirit of love and compassion, let us be the good we want to see in others. We pray that we will be healers, peacemakers, troubleshooters, unifiers, and lovers of all people. From compassion to action, standing together for the greater good, let us unite in the spirit of shared service for collective action and collective responsibility. As we come to praise you in our hearts, my Lord, let us say Amen. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We continue to invite our many faith traditions as well as moments of thankfulness and feedback we've gotten for the community to open our meetings. Thank you, truly. Clerk Bailey, if you want to note that we also have gained a trustee who got through the traffic. Trustee McGowan's here. And then if we could all stand, if willing and able, to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Apparently I jumped the gun on roll call. Anyhow, on to the approval of the agenda. If I could have a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
I move to approve the agenda.
And I second.
All right. Any discussion on the agenda? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And the ayes have it. All right. Approval of minutes from the regular meeting held on August 12th, 2025. I will be not voting on this matter simply because I wasn't there. If I could have a first regarding the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes.
First.
And a second.
And a second
And
against.
a second.
Thank you, Trustee Fitz. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And I've abstained on that. All right, the ayes have it. And lastly, approval of the claims. We have, at the beginning of the meeting, if this is your first meeting, we go through a lot of checks. And those are actually double signed. They are also approved by the supervisor of the department that they've been brought in. And then every trustee has a chance to question any bill here. The claims this month actually have a pretty eye-watering total, but I'll explain why. It was a $1,880,857.71 month. Really, three things drove that. Road and Bridge had two large checks go out that totaled roughly $994,500. So two big projects are finishing. Of course, building and fixing roads is an expensive process. So those are out. And then our 708 board, the Community Mental Health Board, at two different points in the year and a few other smaller points, sends its grants out. So it exists in order to fund services in the community that help on the issues of mental health, substance abuse prevention, and helping those who are disabled or intellectually or physically different. And that board has approved a check this month of a total of checks of $257,135,000. So $257,135. So what that means is a normal month for us is somewhere in the $400,000 to $500,000 range. We were just a little bit above that, and that's because the meeting actually moved back a week. So in a 6-week capture, we spent about $629,000 with those three big exceptions. Okay? So those bills will go out. With that, we're on to public comment. Oh, I need to have a motion. This is why he's here. All right, a motion after we've signed the bill to approve the claims. Can I have a first?
I move to approve the claims. Second.
Okay. Any discussion? And we need an actual roll call on that vote.
Okay, so, all right, so Jackie did the motion, Jackie McGrath, and then who did the second? Okay, Paula, okay. And roll call. Trustee Pitts.
Yes.
Okay. Trustee McGrath.
Yes.
Trustee McGowan.
Yes.
Supervisor Higgins-Beard.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like it's approved.
All right. We'll move on to public comment. Anyone present is welcome to speak. We do ask that you had signed in at the back. That is limited in that speaking to 3 minutes per person, and I should go in the order of the list, which I don't have in front of me. Did anyone sign in? Okay. Well, if you're the only one signed in, then we're not going to really worry about order. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
I happen to know this gentleman's name. So, Mr. John Patterson.
Yes,
3
John
minutes.
John Patterson, Milton Township resident. And I just want to say thank you to Supervisor Higgins-Beard. We had an opportunity to meet for slightly less than 30 minutes. I let her get on with her day. last week. And as kind of a new person to township business, I'm learning more about trustees' roles, about supervisor roles, and the other 4 offices. So I am appreciative of that. So thank you again. I know you have a very busy schedule, and I appreciate the fact that you carved out some time for me. So thank you, and thank you to all of you for representing us.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, public comment will close. And it's on to my chair's report. If you want to go to the next slide, Rick Bailey. So I've made a process, and I use a lot of colors, but there's only one other slide here. When we came in, the group had goals in the first 90 days, the trustees and I, of what we'd like to accomplish. And I shared those with you. Again, we all started in May, despite the election being in April, and that's by state rules, May 19th. So we're sitting at about 4 months into the first 6 months, and the focus has been on a few things. One, I completed a listening tour. I talked to as many staff, as many volunteers, as many of our partners as possible, and took input. We've really started to emphasize some other things that are below there: team building, safety and facilities, changes in communications, and a lot in the area of audits and finance. And then I'll get to those other 2. So if we go to the next slide, Rick Bailey. There's a whole lot of words on this, and I'll just outline one thing. There's a lot of check marks. So there's a lot that's been completed. I'm happy to share this out with any member of the public who'd like it. Items that are check marked are done, and there's quite a few. Under highlights, I personally, as well as the trustees, have spent a lot of time doing community outreach, going to events. We don't want to lose the thread of people understanding what the township does and who we are. Amongst that, to highlight one thing I've been doing lately, I have been at these community emergency response team trainings. I'm missing it tonight. Fascinating. If you love coming to township meetings, you should learn how to use a fire extinguisher and how to search a building and how to help your community when times are tough. The training is 3 hours, 4 nights in 1 month, and then a little bit of online. Absolutely fascinating. Other things I've highlighted here to talk about. Under audits and finance, we have completed the 24 audit that was left for us. We have the 25 audit, so that's the year that ended at the end of March of this year, underway. They are visiting us in a couple weeks to do the next step, which is pulling documentation and talking and interviewing various members of leadership. We also have started a forensic audit. That was something that this group of trustees and myself promised. It is covering a 5-year span. That group of auditors from Sickich will be starting in 3 weeks. They've already gotten quite a few documents that they've requested, but they'll be on site later on. I don't know that I'll have a lot to report from that quickly. It's a process, and also they have told us and warned us they will move at their pace. And I'm thankful to the Finance Committee who's helping me with that process, which includes Trustee Siemer, Assessor LeVan, as well as others on our team. Lastly, tonight we're going to talk about consolidating what are called operational accounts, in common parlance, checking accounts. We have a lot of them. That's why you see all these checks, and we've got a better plan, I think, for that. A few other things. I wanted to thank the trustees. The new computers and software arrived. We did have a winner. The oldest desktop that was replaced was from 2013. It was time. The receptionist has said she likes doing her job with a computer that doesn't turn off. Hers was from 2018. So all good there. Under communications, I did put up a 90-day update on several of our channels, and we've updated quite a bit of our digital resource. The website updates for a new website continue. We are in, for those of you who know the terms, we are migrating websites, which means old pages are connected to new ones, and then we do a lot of editing on the new ones. Lastly, on services, there is ongoing monitoring and abatement steps with West Nile virus. As you may or may not know, the supervisor's office is in charge of every mosquito in Glen Ellyn, as I like to say. And there's been quite a few. We've had 2 human cases in Glen Ellyn of West Nile. So far they have had to do adult fogging or spraying 5 times this year. A normal year is 4. We might get away with just 5. I'm hopeful, but it's also a good thing to do to keep people safe. And lastly, we will be in the next month celebrating our SALT leadership, but also transitioning that leadership Chuck Smith is here tonight, and he is one of our retiring, amazing parts of that program of the seniors and law enforcement together. So it's just a little bit of a snapshot of where we're working. Lots of good things going on in those thematic areas. And in the next few months, I'll keep reporting on the thematic gains. I might start dropping off the things that are done because the font's getting small enough. I'm having a hard time reading it. So thank you for that. The other thing I'll call your attention to, the Human Services report is in the packet. The Human Services team is a mighty team of one. She is well ahead of any other year she's been at by this point by many measures, and spent $8,000 or granted $8,236 into the community in July. That was a great month. August looks like it was even a little bit more. So really, really happy with the work that's going on in general assistance, and I think it's reflecting the updates we made to the grant cycle for individuals in need, that it reflects current costs per living. I think that's all I have. It is. So with that, we'll move on to other reports. The first reporter up is our clerk, Clerk Bailey.
Well, my report, I'm continuing to work on transparency and trying to make sure that people know what's going on with our township. Things don't always work exactly as planned, but anyways, but we are working on getting the videos posted online, meeting videos posted online. Another thing that's taking up a lot of time and resources are FOIAs. I'm all for transparency, but the FOIAs are, for instance, for over $2,000 out of the $3,000 we spent last month on legal fees was for FOIAs, and sometimes it seems like it's good to have transparency, but maybe balance would be good. Anyways, so appreciate being here, and on to the next.
Yield your time. All right.
Yeah.
Trustees' reports, we'll just go in order that I listed them. So Trustee McGowen. Nothing to report? Thank you. Okay. Trustee McGrath.
Let's see. I want to share. I haven't reported much on this yet, but I am appointed to the 708 board. The 708 board is the mental health board. By virtue of being a trustee, I'm appointed as a voting member of the mental health board, and so I want to just kind of provide, for the sake of information, some regular updates about what that board is doing. The board president does come to this meeting and make ongoing reports, but just for the public interest, in the past few months, the board has been receiving reports from community partners. They come to the 708 board meetings, they present on the status of the grants they received, and there's some incredible organizations in Milton Township that are really helping a lot of people, and so they're really lovely meetings. They're even less attended than this is, but if you want to hear about some amazing organizations, that's really actually a pleasant aspect of it. To hear success stories and to hear things that are turning out well. And then the 708 board has been talking about 6-month updates from those funding partners, and so once they've fulfilled the criteria from their grant application, then as we approve tonight, the checks are issued for the rest of the grants. So that was a big element of the topic, and just in terms of when grants are have met the terms and when the funds are distributed. You should all know, the community should know, that the 708 board has a new pilot program funding social workers at the municipal libraries. So both the Glen Public Library and the Wheaton Public Library have applied and will be beginning a pilot program to host social worker interns who are there, for a certain number of hours and who are supervised by their programs. But this is a new endeavor. This is a new pilot, and there will be some outcomes and reports and updates about that. I think the partners are very excited about this pilot. And then the other thing I just want to put out there is there's a vacancy on the 708 board. Application information is on the website. Applications are on a rolling basis until the position is filled. The finalists are reviewed, interviewed, and then recommended to the township supervisor. So if you're looking for a public service opportunity, just be aware those come up sometimes. And then the last thing is the 708 board is starting the review of 2026 grant applications, and so that'll really happen in October. So there will probably be more to announce when that process is finished. But it is a very successful, very thoughtful board, and it is just as exciting as Milton Township trustee meetings. So if you're looking for something to do on a Tuesday night, it's out there. Right. That's plenty, right, Dan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And Chair Hartnett will be giving us a report next month.
So now,
Trustee Pitts?
Okay, so I'm just going to kind of give a report on my first 100 days as a Milton Township trustee. It's been a busy time. For events, we've had commemorative events at each of our 3 cemeteries. And we did the police department roll call, which I found out is a time for families to come out with their children and have a pleasant time, win some prizes with the police department. That was nice. National Night Out, the same thing. That was my first time attending. That's the Love a Truck event for the kids. They get to get on a fire truck and police cars. It was a good event, and some good food. That was nice. And then the next is meetings, lots of meetings, including Township Cemetery Commission, which now we've had our 4th meeting today, and the Food Pantry Board. Participated in a township tour of the new DuPage County Crisis Center, which is going to be really a nice thing for the county. And just wanted to mention that the response of staff and volunteers and the community has been positive. Also, kind of as a side note, the produce donations from community gardens to our food pantries request for vegetables was overwhelming. Dave put a notice out on the marquee out front, and just from one sentence flashing up every minute, they ended up getting all kinds of vegetables to hand out in the pantry. And great success. So I'm looking for my next 100 days.
Thank you. All right. I've asked if our assessor had any reporting to do today. He, of course, can pass because I know next month you have a lot to say.
Well, yeah, just,
but Assessor LeVan.
Just shortly, we turned our books over last Friday the 12th. They ran we cut off all our splits and divisions, so that's all done. They ran our first upload, but as the upload came back, the Tyler program, our new program at the county, which is has a lot of questions about it, took off 2,800 home improvement exemptions off of just random residents. So now we're going back through manually putting all those exemptions back on. The county tells me, the SMA tells me that we should be published 2 weeks from tomorrow. So we will see. Once I get those numbers and the dates, then I'll have a lot more to report as far as what the dates are, what our 30-day appeal period is, and what the factor actually ends up being. Because in the interim, we're still not locked out, so we're still working to try to reduce that factor a little bit. So that's where we are right now.
Thank you, and good luck. All right, we're lucky tonight to have someone new from the Highway Commission here. Naresh Nair, who likes to be called Squared, and as someone who goes by Buffy, I can't,
There you go.
can't say anything about
All
it.
about nicknames.
I know. You're serving as a proxy.
Yes, for Michael Drew. He's actually in the CERT class, so he's taking the class. And I'm a CERT instructor, so I told him I'd fill in, and I also work at the Highway Department. I'm one of the coordinators of the Highway Department. Been there 6 years. So.
And Clerk Bailey, I
Got a
think
little
his slides.
slideshow for you guys. We're going to go over, so hopefully it'll work.
Just to give a little genesis of this, part of the question that was asked of the Highway Commission was, could the public, as well as ourselves and as well as those through video, be informed what to do with concerns and emergencies? So several of us, like about 8 of us, were interrupted on Labor Day weekend And we're happy, of course, to be of service, but part of this was a highlighting that maybe we need to do a little more educating on how to be ready for emergencies, especially in the unincorporated parts of the township.
Did you try Control L?
I did.
So we looked into, Mike Drew, the highway commissioner, is a tech guy a little bit on more than the old highway commissioner, and then I'm a really big tech guy, and since I do a bunch of stuff with tech, I redid our website, and we've updated that, but we're taking it to the next level at the highway department, and we're doing a thing. It's called the Citizen Request Management Program. It's actually an app, and it's by GoGov is the sponsor of this. So there's probably 200 different things out there for this, but GoGov works strictly with municipalities and different government areas of government. And as we go through it a little bit, I'll show you kind of what they're all about. So there's two things that we're going to do. We're going to have citizen request management, where citizens will be able to be on an app and go and report things, and then also permitting and licensing. You can go arrow down or the next part of it there. So they were founded in 2004, 450 municipal customers, over 2 million users. They have a lot of Illinois places. We actually went to Bartlett to talk to Bartlett Public Works uses this program. So besides the salesman who did a great job of informing us things and having lots of meetings with, he said, they recommended, hey, what's your closest municipality that uses it? We want to go talk to them. Talk to another municipality that uses it and really get the dirt out of them, not a salesman, but just, we made a meeting with the Public Works Director, and the four of us went over there and just asked some questions about how the thing worked. We can go ahead and get the next slide there. Arrow down. There we go. So they have different products, right? So there's citizen notification, citizen request management, code enforcement, permitting, and licensing. So right now, there are different components. So right now we're just going to do citizen request management and permitting and licensing, which is going to, again, so on the citizen request management, there's service request, it's knowledge-based, there's workflow, reporting and mapping, satisfaction service surveys, work order files, and integration. So basically the way it works at the highway department now, if you're a citizen and you call into the highway department, you call our office, either Casey or I answers the phone. Casey's our admin, and we take a message down on a little piece of paper, hand-write piece of paper, and then we hand it to the foreman, or I take it, or we assign it to whoever with that little piece of paper. Then the next person takes that little piece of paper, writes on it, and gets it back to them, or whatever. So this one, you'll be on the app, and it says, it's a branded app. It'll say Milton Township Highway Department. We'll have a QR code. We'll get it out to the residents. We'll do probably a flyer of some sort to say, hey, this is our new thing, once it's up and running. And they'll go on the app and they'll be like, I have a request. And they put in their information, and then say, I'll just use, there's a pothole in the road in front of my house. So I'm a Milton Township resident also, by the way. So I can take a picture of that pothole in front of my house. I can enter all my information in. It actually geographically tracks that location of where that pothole exactly is. It goes into a work order, already generates a work order, and generates the whole workflow, and gets assigned to everybody's email. And then we go through, and then once it's as that gets done, as soon as you send that in, then we acknowledge that we have it, and we can even set timelines, like we'll get to it in 2 weeks or within a day or whatever. And you can prioritize different things. There's a lot to this program, but it's a little bit to set up, and I'm working on that right now with GoGov. It's about a 2-month process, but once it's in process and it starts working, the workflow will be crazy easier to do, and it'll take a lot of steps out that can be lost in the mail, basically, right? So then after it's all done, then the crew that's out there, they all have an iPad. They can take a picture of that filled pothole. That gets sent back to the residents, and they put on their job's done, and that gets an automatic response, goes right back to the residents saying we've completed the job, right? So that's part of it. And then the other thing is we're going to go to online. Right now, So with the new website I designed, you can go online now and apply for a permit online, and what it does is you fill out a form and it sends an email to Casey, and then we got to send in, then she's got to type up the permit and it gets sent in.
What would those permits be for?
Well, like if you're doing a driveway or anything you need a road entrance permit for. So like doing a driveway, any kind of digging in your house, patios, things like that. The county requires their permit, and then you need a permit from us for a road entrance permit, portion of it. So they'll be able to apply for that permit on the app. It'll get sent right to Casey's email, but it auto-fills everything, and then the whole permitting process also generates a work ticket. And then there's different steps that need to be approved and whatever, but every time a step gets approved, it goes back to the homeowners, so they stay much more transparency basically on what's going on. So inspection schedules, they can do all that on the app and everything. It's really, and it's all mobile friendly. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on an iPad, you can do it on a laptop. For people that don't have smartphones or whatever, you can still go to our website too, and there'll be the same thing. They'll be able to click on the website, the actual upload, and do the same thing. So that works out. And then further down the line, we're going to do code enforcement module, which will help with that. And then that actually produces tickets and all kinds of stuff. And then there's a citizen notification module too, where you can push data out to your citizens. Just like you said, there's striping on Main Street or whatever. We can say, there's going to be heavy traffic today on Main Street because they're striping roads or whatever, and that can get pushed out to whoever's got the app, and they'll get a push notification on their phone for that. All right, you can keep moving on. Okay. I kind of went through it. So that's kind of what the app looks like. So it'll say Milton Township Highway. It'll have our logo, a nice picture of the township, that kind of stuff. So you can go ahead and move forward. And then again, the web portal, like I said, it's in the web portal, all the stuff, and this is really set up as a whole for Milton Township eventually. Like, we're starting with the highway department, then we'll eventually branch out, but, you can do different service requests and everything. We can tie this in, and work together with the township side with, stuff for the food pantry or whatever. So there's a lot of more things that can become of this thing.
How about driver's license and tags and things like that that people are getting now?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way to get, they can put requests in through the website, same thing. Right. All right, you can go to the next slide. So, and then on the back end of things, there's a whole staff end of the software, like I said, where we can manage and route requests, we can assign and track work, collaborate with citizens and staff, integrate with third-party software if need be, things like that. That's kind of what it looks like on the left. There's, it says what the thing was. You see the picture, it shows where the job is, it shows the status. And the good thing about this is if Drew's in the office and no one else is in the office, and the resident calls for some reason and says, "Hey, how's my pothole project coming?" Well, he can look at this on his cell phone, or he can look at this on his iPad or computer, and everybody knows what everybody else is doing, so it's much more integrated for the system. You can keep going. And then the best part of this, so right now at the end of the year or whatever, or Casey's got to spend probably a week or 2 weeks doing the yearly end report or whatever. Instantaneous reporting tells you everything we've done. It tracks everything. How many potholes we filled, how many mailboxes we knocked down and had to rebuild, or, unfortunately that happens, but, how many streetlights were fixed. It gives you all this reporting and data, and it's all geocached. You can do it on maps, you can do it in graphs. All we got to do is click buttons, and it's like literally, once a month we can print a report and have information. So definitely gives you more transparency to things. Again, the permitting and licensing, the workflow, I talked about that. We can go ahead and move forward. I don't want to kill too much time here. And then training and implementation. They train our staff. They train us. It's all included in the pricing and everything and all that. So go ahead. And then with the pricing, it's all population-based pricing. So They only pay for the residents we have. You know, there's no upfront cost. It's unlimited users in our department, so if we have 10 employees or 500 employees, it's the same. Unlimited training and support. If we hire a new employee at the highway department and we don't have time to train them, GoGov will train them for us, so we don't have to train them on our system. Fully hosted, you know, it's a very secure server. You keep going. Is that the last one?
I think that's it.
Okay, great. So again, I gave some handouts to the board, but there's a few in the back too. If you want them, you can look at them. But what it comes down to is this is going to put us in the 21st century Milton Township Highway Department. It's going to make things streamless and much more efficient and much more transparent for everything as work orders go. Questions, you can just send a question to somebody if you need to or whatever. So, and like I said, it's 24/7. You know, Buffy called me, was it Memorial Day?
It was Labor Day.
Labor Day, you know, Saturday morning, the resident had a complaint, really didn't know what to go to. Buffy really didn't understand the procedures, you know. Well, I mean, and I'm not trying to throw her under the bus.
No.
And that's not my intention.
6 people have been emailed already.
Right, I'm saying, everybody got emailed because this resident, you know,
Yeah.
was one of those, do you know who I am type person. I'm sorry, I'm not saying who it was. Okay. But, you know, and she called so I carried my work phone with me. I'm the Julie guy, so I'm on call 24/7.
So it wasn't that crazy to call you, since you're the 21st.
Well, yeah, well, for this it was. But anyway, so the point of the story was, if we're not in the office and there's an emergency, for a real emergency, you would call 911, the sheriff's department, and they would dispatch. We have an on-call person also that handles the highway stuff. The Julie stuff's a whole separate component. But just for a highway emergency, someone hits a stop sign in the middle of the night. Well, the sheriff's department would call us, dispatch us, and then we would, you know. But this is at least that if something does happen in the middle of the night or something, and it wasn't really a non-emergency, it was a non-emergency, but you know, the resident wanted to report it, they could report it anytime they wanted to, and it would be in our inbox on Monday morning. We'd be able to approach it, or we could look at it, you know. So that will help with that. So pricing on this, so, and I'm going to tie this into, Drew will have a amended budget for you guys this next meeting in October.
It might be November, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
We'll be hosting it at some point, yeah.
Right, exactly. So, you know, we've had to reappropriate some funding to make sure that we're covered on costs. But as a whole, for this whole program, and you got to remember they're building and everything. So they started at about $22,000 a year, and I negotiated it down to $15,000 a year. So I kind of feel like I saved myself money since I'm one of the taxpayers. So, so it's good. And you know, each different component comes with a price tag, but that's for the 24/7 hosting. That's for building the program, and we've had to import a lot of data to them. Actually, Chris and his crew helped me with that because they needed all our parcel data because it's all geocached, like I said, so they match it up with that homeowner and everything. So it's all kind of like one giant database. So that's the cost of the GoGov, $15K a year. Okay, so any questions on GoGov?
We don't entertain questions. Maybe after you could.
I'm sorry, that's fine.
If the trustees have
If you
any
do, you can.
questions.
Yeah, you can always get a hold of me at the highway department. I'm pretty accessible, as Buffy knows. She calls me.
I'm not
All
writing
right.
this down.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, number 2, the Berry Avenue project. There's a project scheduled for Berry Avenue. It was a big drainage project that's been pushed back to the spring because we need to acquire some funding from that through what's called MFT funds, and the MFT funds are a little more complicated to get dispersed. So there's a little bit of time frame involved, and with the weather, we have to have good weather. So we're pushing that project to spring. And again, I already talked about the amended budget next meeting. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm a little long-winded there.
So that you were our educational speaker for tonight. So
All right,
thank you.
no problem.
And the takeaway also, you can call 911 if something's an absolute emergency.
Absolutely.
And then otherwise, there is a 24/7 coverage in our unincorporated areas. All right. Last but not least, if we could have Chair Chuck Smith up to speak about the Seniors and Law Enforcement Together Committee.
Good evening.
Good evening.
September is always a big month for salt. It's always another anniversary. Tuesday, September 9th was the 28th anniversary of salt being in existence, helping our seniors, principally trying to keep them from being defrauded and abused. And so we were happy to announce that at our September 8th meeting. We had 22. We had a really great speaker from DuPage County Community Services. Sana Wilson is an ombudsman. She spoke about that great program. An ombudsman is one that represents a senior, possibly a disabled individual that's in a care facility. Many different ones in our area. Some of them do not have family. Some have families that don't represent them, and that's where the ombudsman really comes into play. They protect their rights, consumer, personal, financial, constitutional, legal, etc. It's a great representative that helps, but it's strictly within those facilities where there's issues in a private home, townhome, senior facility that's not a long-term care facility. The people that represent them would be the county organization that's especially at the moment, it's Adult Protective Services, who we work with a lot, where seniors don't feel that their family in many cases has their best interests. Great meeting. Arnie also spoke about scams, job scams, calls from Medicare scams, health insurer refund scams, toll road payment scams are still hot and heavy, and then he had a long list of all of the terms, adware, doxing, hacking, phishing, farming, ransomware, all those buzzwords that people have no idea what they are until they become a victim. This is going to be a big month for us. A month from today, October 18th, is our auto inspection. So we got a lot to do this month. I expect by the 10 days before the event, they have all the lists from our 3 Boy Scout troops, Lombard Northumberland Service League, and of course the Technology Center of DuPage. I've had a lot of discussions last week with the instructor who's coming. We bumped up the number from that group to 18 from 12. He's got more that want to attend, and I don't want to have too many, but we want to have just enough. And another plus is some of the students that were with us last year, they're second-year students in the automotive technology group. They are coming, and their instructor is coming. So we'll have 2 of their instructors. Last year they sent me 12 of their students, but I was their instructor, so I'm happy to know that I've got someone that's looking after them, keeping them out of trouble because they're still youth. Big event. We've got a lot of volunteers. I'll be putting all the teams together. So we've announced it's from 9 to 11:30. Our goal is to be like last year, where we don't have a line at 11:30 to 12. My goal is that by 12 we have no line. One of the things we never know is how many are going to show up. We want to really advertise this, but if we advertise too much, we'll not be able to take care of everyone. So it's always a hidden number as to how many are going to show up. The year that we had the absolute worst weather, it was cold, rainy. We had most seniors show up. They're tough. So we've got these brochures up front. We pass them around. Glen Ellyn had it in the newsletter, senior newsletter that came out last week. So we know we'll have good representation there. We'll have lunches for all of the volunteers in the lunchroom. I was at the fire station last week with our CERT team leader, Chuck, and we mapped out exactly where we were going to have CERT team members staged. We've got a good representation of our police officers from the Sheriff Department, Wheaton and Glen Ellyn, and hopefully Cato from Carroll Stream can make it. Keeping everyone safe is our absolute number 1 priority. We did talk to Abigail this week about contacting Thomas, so we have a rider for this event. We haven't had an accident, but we have to be prepared. And next week I've got Rita Brosnan. She's the senior home sharing coordinator for DuPage County. So some of our seniors, particularly with the high costs of living in DuPage, can't afford to pay the rent or pay their mortgage if they have one, or the living expenses in a home with utilities. She does an awesome job of putting hopefully compatible people that can live in a house together and share the costs and enjoy their companionship. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Excuse me, Joe. Do you think we're going to have quite a few this weekend, especially with the rain and the storms that they have?
I never know. I just have to, we will be organized. We'll have our 6 teams. I will have 10 people per team, maybe even 11. That's my goal. When volunteers are all instructed to be there at 8, I have some that will be there with me at 6, 6:15, 6:30, 7, 7:30. Different points. We don't need everybody right at the same time. We're going to set up all the equipment, run all the air hoses, all 12 air hoses. We'll be ready.
Big day.
It's a big day.
And it's a big week, right? So to highlight, the 14th of October is your next meeting. The 16th, we're asking you to join us here again.
Correct.
And the 18th of October is the auto inspection. Big week.
For the
Thank you,
start
Chuck.
of the week, I should have.
Well, you never know with rain or whatever, but you never know.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Each mechanic will have his team. Will have an envelope. Who's with them. We'll have name tags for
gonna
all
be
the
perfect.
volunteers, and they'll have a number on it, and it says which team they will be on. So
Yeah.
there'll have numbers on the floor, so you go by that number on the card.
And it's all under roof, which is
Yes.
It's all under roof.
Yeah.
That's right.
You might get a lot.
All right. So we're going to move on to unfinished business. I think I jumped ahead, but I'll say this for the minutes specifically, Clerk Bailey.
You don't
With
want to
the-
do the cemetery just briefly?
Oh, I thought you did not do that
Well,
earlier. I forgot that. So Cemetery Authority, Trustee Pitts, who is a commissioner on the authority.
Yeah, I just want to mention, and normally this would be Drew doing it through Ellis, but he is not here this evening. As I mentioned, we've had events at all 3 cemeteries, and we have had a plat survey done of the Jewel Grove, because we've got a lot of trees that we've got to do some work on. We've got some branches that are a little dangerously hanging down. We've got a lot of invasives, some buckthorn and other stuff that needs to be taken out. So we're going to have an arborist help us take care of that. We'll get quotes to remove the trees and do the pruning. And Pleasant Hill, if anybody's driven by there, the fences are down facing the street. We just had our meeting there today at 4, and it's great. It actually looks pleasant. It looks larger without the fence. I think it'll be nice. We're thinking about eventually putting an arch with the name on it. The St. Stephen is, we have our event there. We've got the adjacent prairie that we're working on. We'll do a prairie burn. We'll get all the invasive species out of there and rebuild the prairie. And that was, who was that was really interested in giving us a hand that you spoke to from university?
The University of Illinois Extension Office has offered some advice, and I've spoken to a lot of other offices.
So that's nice. We will have a prairie restoration, and that won't happen until the spring. The burn will probably be late fall, and then we're going to work on attendance, coming up with different ways to invite local city councils and mayors, other elected officials to come, and a broader scope on the radius for getting out postcards and try to get more information in church bulletins, maybe through the city and village newsletters, so that we're not paying so much money in postage to get the information out. And that's it.
Thank you. The group is also looking to apply for a grant.
Right.
There'll be more on that later, just to continue to do work in our cemeteries.
Yeah.
All right. So unfinished business. I earlier said this, Clerk Bailey, but for the auditor update, Lauterbach and Amen is working on our FY25 audit. Their first day in office, the second step of the audit is September 29th. Sikich, who is working on the forensic audit, again, is on the second step of their audit process, and they will first visit us, I believe it's the week of October 2nd. Okay. And for anyone in the audience who's wondering why the FY25 audit wasn't started sooner, this group had to engage auditors for that process, so that had been missed earlier. All right, so returning to one other piece of, and for the public, this is all in your packet. It's 4 pages long or 3 pages long. Resolution 25R9 is a resolution consolidating Milton Township checking accounts. I will highlight only 2 things. This was asked of our current auditors, Lauterbach and Amen. It was the advice of our Wind Trust Bank to reduce fees, and it was at the begging of our accountant. So this has a lot of backing outside of this room. The proposal is to take 14 operating checking accounts down to 6. Savings and CDs stay the same for now. And those are all listed with great detail in the resolution. So if I could have a first to entertain the motion.
I move to entertain the motion.
Okay, and a second.
I second.
Okay. So, any discussion on Resolution R25-9? My only comment will be if we all look through the lengthy finance reports, this really will reduce fees, which is a concern of mine. We don't need to be paying bank fees for this many sets of checks, this many sets of accounts.
Make your accountant very happy.
The accountant might not quit, so that's also good, right? Okay. Any other discussion? All right. So I need a vote, and I'm actually going to ask for a roll call vote on this. It's not typical for something, but this will, in effect, move millions of dollars around. So I would like everyone's name next to the fact that they've had an opinion on this piece. So if I could ask for a roll call.
Me and Supervisor Higgins-Beard.
I'm an aye, yes.
Okay, he's not here. Trustee Pitts.
Yes.
Okay. Trustee McGrath.
Yes.
Trustee McGowan.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. This will be done as the resolution says at the timing that is advised by our accountants, no later than the end of this fiscal year. Thank you. All right, moving on to new business, we have Resolution R2510. This is really housekeeping. So the Illinois Municipal Retirement Fund doesn't currently have an administrator at this location, which means that current and new people can't do much with our IMRF. So the resolution in front of you is to appoint myself, Elizabeth Higgins-Beard, the Township Supervisor, during the tenure as Township Supervisor to be the administrator who can sign for things for the staff here and other electeds that it applies to. Can I have a first on the motion? To consider?
I move to consider.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion or questions?
Was that Jackie?
It was Paul.
Paul.
Oh, okay.
All right. With no discussion, this one we can vote by ayes. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. So moved. The last item for public discussion by the board is America's 250th birthday is coming up. It's worth noting also that the township is 150-some years old, yes. So that's exciting. But with America's 250th, there is an effort by the Township Association to celebrate and to formally pass a resolution. So what I wanted us to do tonight, I think we all saw the article in our very exciting Perspectives magazine. If anybody had ideas of what we'd like to put in that resolution of actual items or actions we will take in that year of 2026, I can also solicit some from the staff, and then we can bring back a resolution next month with those items in it. So I'm just going to leave this open for discussion amongst you all and myself. Any ideas? Yes?
I have an idea. It might not be the most exciting celebration, but I would love to have like a dramatic reading of the Declaration of Independence. And maybe we would take turns and we could play music and we could sort of do it in a really nice way. But to me, maybe that's simple, but to me that just seems like just like a core act that would just read that document and that would be the celebration.
It's lovely.
I don't know what we're thinking of, how long we're thinking of it. Is this a day? Is this an hour?
I
Is
think
this
it's a year's worth of
okay,
any sort of activities.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we celebrate all year. That's the idea.
I think we technically have been celebrating since July 5th of this year until July 4th of next
So
year.
we better get on something. Okay, all right. We're late.
The Cemetery Commission, I think, has a really big opportunity to tie this into the gatherings that are already have had some form and plan. They often involve reenactors. The other thing that jumped to my mind is this definitely should be tied into our presence in the parade next year. And I know there is a hope and wish by our commissioner to have a float. So I think we can do some things with that. Anything else that just jumps to mind?
There are pocket constitutions. Could we give out pocket declarations? It's not as long. I don't know if they exist. It just
Yeah.
They do. They were giving them out at a conference this morning.
okay. So someone's already got that idea. I'm not very original then.
You have a Lincoln impersonator.
He has moved to Michigan.
Yeah, he loved us.
He has. He's
Move
left.
back and read the Gettysburg Address.
He's also quite elderly. Yeah, I think he's.
This was his last year
Yep.
serving us.
The other angle is we could think about some township history tie-ins because the township is pretty darn old itself. And I know there's some good information around in the building and up on our walls. So I'll do a little work with the team on what sort of angles that might have.
I was going to say something about, I think it's Adams. One of the Adamses is like connected to the people that started the country.
Mm-hmm. With
lived
Adams
here.
Park.
And that's their house. It's a historical society. Is that?
Yep.
Is that? I think that's
Well, no,
right.
the house is gone. She had the house was torn down for the park. She did it, and she donated that in the event they build a park, but they had to tear the house down.
And the historical museum was the library,
The
built
library.
for her
Yeah,
by her
built.
husband.
Yeah, by the father,
All right, that's a good start on ideas. We won't belabor it too long. If anyone has ideas, and I would invite that even from the public, please email me. I feel like I've been preparing for this my entire life. My father didn't take us on vacations except to go to D.C., so that was my childhood and cemeteries. So we'll figure out something that the township's doing. All right, well, with that, we're going to do something new to this group and to maybe some of you who are watching, but very common at other gatherings. I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn to executive session pursuant to Illinois 5 ILCS 122C, dealing with personnel and independent contractors, as well as 2C5, I guess the other was 2C1, sorry, Clerk Bailey, dealing with property. There will be no action taken in executive session that will be referred back to the public. So in common parlance, I'm inviting you all to go home, and we are going to stay here and talk, but the public portion of the meeting would be adjourned. So I need to entertain that motion.
I move to go into executive session.
I second.
For the reasons listed.
Okay, any discussion? All right. All those who say aye?
Thanks for coming.
We have to do.
We need ayes.
Aye. Yes.
All ayes.
Ayes have it.
Hi, come on.